The only real God is the one that you believe in. Start looking for the God in others. And if you find you're tuning into a wave, well then I don't know much about the NC.
Hello, friends.
Hello, angel friends.
Oh, right on.
Yay.
Welcome to another episode of Spiritual Philos-o-Chat with the Joneses. I'm Danny Jones.
And I am Samantha Jones.
And here we are to talk to you for another hour. And
Right.
What is our episode? This is episode 45.
45.
What is our topic?
This is angels.
I get it now.
Yeah. Unagi.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, before we do that, anything from last week?
I do. I have a few things.
Okay.
So if you remember in episode 43, I talked about how in episode 42, I said the number 42, or between the two of us, we said the number 42 like 6 times.
Okay.
Okay. And then there was also another number sequence that happened that was 5 to 7. And so I had said, if anybody relates to these numbers, to let me know.
Okay.
And so
I remember, yeah.
Okay, so I got this from Nicole. And she said, just listen to the intro of your episode 43, The Psychic Realm, and I heard your 42 message to a listener. Well, I don't know if it's related, but my daughter used to have nightmares and hear whispers or talking in her ear when trying to go to sleep. One evening, she screamed for me and was crying because she heard a whisper in her ear, 42. If you take it, thank you for that, Nicole, by the way. If you take it like that, then it's for you. You know, take it. There's a reason why your daughter was hearing that 42. I'm not sure if you ever got down to the bottom of it.
Right.
But if you didn't, let me know, and it's something that we can work on, because that definitely could be another way of them saying, you know, to you, hey, we're trying to get through. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anybody that took that, that's the only one that I've heard, but, you know, everybody, this is something that I was kind of thinking about earlier today about how to describe, like when you're trying to build communication with the other side, you have to kind of give to. You can't just expect that they're going to be like, here's the numbers, here's the songs. You have to work with them. And understanding what they're trying to do, and they're trying to send you these numbers, is a big part of that. Then you have to accept that in a way that you verbally say it out loud. For example, now with Nicole, if she wants to take that 42 as a sign from the other side, every time she sees that 42, she's going to have to say, I take that 42, or something relate, you know, like if I hear a mom song, I'll say mom song, so that she knows that I'm relating, that she's showing me that.
Right.
And it's the same with the numbers. This is how you build communication with them. They throw you these things, but you have to recognize them. So if you're listening to this right now and you're like, oh, 42, you know, I could take that like, you know, oh, my dad died at 42, or my mom was born in 1942, or whatever it is. However you might take it, it is a sign for you. And the best way to hold down that sign is to right now say, I recognize this 42 or 57 as a sign.
Yeah, because if you're not real sure right away, I think more will be revealed, or you might even...
They'll push it.
Or it might kind of dawn on you, if that makes sense. Like all of a sudden you'll relate and go, oh, this is... Maybe there's somebody she has that's passed away at that age.
Yeah.
Like you said, born at the 1942,
Yeah.
1942, whatever.
Right, whatever it is, however you relate to it, you just have to recognize that it's there, because if you don't recognize it, then they're going to keep like shoving it down your throat. They really will if they're trying to get something through to you.
Yeah.
My mom used to show me 13s shortly after she died, because she died on the 13th. And I was like, why am I seeing this number 13 all the time? All the time. I hate it. I don't want to see it. You know, it reminded me of her death.
Yeah.
And I realized that, because that's one of our biggest numbers now, is she did that so that I wouldn't dwell on her death or dwell on the number. And now I take 13 as a lucky number too.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's a bad number. It's not. It's just a number.
Or that if, like, they're like with my mom, if you have somebody, no matter what day it is, let's just say it's the 25th, you have somebody that dies on the 25th, and then you hate that number after they died. They don't want you to feel that way, because that's not what death is about. It's not.
Really, it's
even
just a
death.
number. It's a way we count. It has nothing. You'll have numbers that mean things to you, obviously, but there's no bad number or good number.
No. And you may not even know why, like, you might be attracted to a certain number. Like, I've always been attracted to the number 11 my entire life. I never knew why. And my dad died on October 11th. But he was also born on May 13th. So it's like he was a 13 and an 11.
Right.
But I take 13 from my mom and 11 from him now.
Right.
So this is how you establish communication with them, really. You take these things, you recognize them. Don't discount them. You know, that 42, that 5 to 7 or 57, that could be anything. Other numbers you hear in our show, other things, other phrases.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's cool.
It's all signs from the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
I wish that people recognize that more, because I've been pointing things out to you more and showing you that I'll be driving and I'll have license plates all around me that are my numbers, or like 2 license plates in cars right in front of us with the same exact numbers. Like, so I've been showing you, once you create this communication with them, they give you more and more until it's like this, where it's all day, every day for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see it every day.
Yeah. It's wild. I can't believe I never noticed it before. Kind of crazy. But so I do have one more thing that I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
A lot of times I talk about how I got started as a medium, and that I got started in groups on Facebook. And so I wanted to give some information on these groups on Facebook, because something has kind of changed for me this week, that I've actually become an admin for the page that I learned in. This was kind of a learning lesson for me, so that's kind of why I wanted to share this story. I got started in this group on Facebook, and I loved this group. It was exactly what I needed. And then all of a sudden I started noticing it getting dark, and people talking about evil spirits and, you know, just bad, negative things. And so I started kind of distancing myself from it, and I saw it coming, but the main admin of this page decided that she didn't want to do it anymore, because she's starting a pagan page and is going more towards the dark side, so to speak, which is exactly what I don't want it. I don't want it anywhere near my life, you know? So I had taken steps back from this group, and I had so many times thought, you know what, I should just leave the group on Facebook. But because this has been my start, I didn't want to leave. Something told me, don't leave, just stay. Well, now she's gone, and she's handed the group over to those of us that are light workers.
Right.
And so now I'm an admin again in this group and teaching animal communication. And so I wanted to point out, first of all, how sometimes your intuition, even if you may not believe it or understand why it's happening, it's happening for a reason. I was told to stay in that group for a reason.
Right.
But I also separated myself for a reason. It's okay to do that too, you know. Yeah. But I wanted
boundaries are okay.
Oh, yeah, you have to have them.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share this group in case anybody's looking for a good place to practice, to learn how to do these kinds of things. So if you do a search on Facebook for Psychic Exposure, Learning, and Spiritual Growth, you can join that group, and you'll see me as an admin there, and there's like 5 of us. So
cool.
Yeah.
And
Check
then it out.
Yeah. And then I also there's a couple other pages that I have so that people that aren't looking to grow their abilities, that are maybe just looking for free readings to kind of see what it's about. I do have 2 other groups on Facebook. You can find those by searching Free Pet Psychic Medium Tarot and Astrology Readings. Once you start putting these in, they come up. So you'll see, you know, like that you can double check to make sure I'm an admin. But then the third one's probably the easiest to find because my name's in it. And that's Free Missing and Lost Pet Readings by Pet Psychic Samantha and Chelsea. And that one is just for lost or missing pets, because that's a whole lot of work. So we take that separate from our other group and put it in its own group.
Right.
But those are the 3 groups that if you would like to join, we would love to have you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thanks.
Well, are we ready? Do you have anything else from last week?
No, that's all I got.
Cool. Well, so episode 45, Angels.
45, Angels.
I wish we had like the cloud parting music, but I'm not some that kind savvy.
So yeah, some kind of angelic music.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
anybody wants to come on and be our like engineer and give us all the
fun stuff,
our third input and our give us all the bells and whistles,
Exactly.
feel free to contact us.
Yeah, we would love that. Neither one of us are. I got no time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah.
Sorry. So, anyways, this episode was hard for me to put together. I'm going to be very honest because I don't know anything about angels because I've never honestly turned to angels, so to speak. Angels and spirits are really the same thing, kind of. We're going to get into that. But for me, I've always just turned to my spirits on the other side, my mom, my dad, my grandparents, whoever else I have over there. I've never looked at them as angels. I believe that at some point I had spirit guides, and those are a form of angels. But other than that, I really didn't know anything. So I was nervous putting this together, but I think that, it'll be good.
I tend to agree with you. I think they're kind of essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
I think they all have different duties and higher levels.
Yes. So we did an episode on spirit guides, and that was episode 23. So today we're going to talk about different stuff than what we covered in that episode, even though a lot of it might have been the same. So if there's something that we don't cover that pertains more towards spirit guides, that would be a great episode to refer back to.
Yeah.
So first of all, what is an angel? An angel is a supernatural being found in various religions and mythologies. They are servants of God that help carry out the needs of the universe. They are everywhere in today's society, really. If you see, like, you go to the car wash and they have little angels you carry with you, there's everywhere. It's all over today's society.
Yep.
And like, I did a lot of reading on things. It says in most of the articles that I read that all angels were at one point human. And I do believe that, because I believe that all of the souls in heaven, that they've already been here once at least. So that makes sense.
For me, I mean, believing in reincarnation, it does make sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense that everybody besides the source itself is doing this, but in a sense, God or the source or whatever you want to call it is doing it because we are it.
Right. Exactly. One of the reasons that this was a hard episode for me to put together is because I wanted to stay away from the religion aspect of it. We haven't really talked about religion. We're not trying to put out a religious vibe anyways.
No.
So I wanted to steer a little bit away from that. But I did want to explain something that I try to use the word universe because I feel like the word God can sometimes push people away. I feel like if you're too upfront with that word almost, that there's people who are like, whoa, I'm not here for God.
Right.
But for me, they're really interchangeable. God, the universe, the source. Some people call it spirit. Whatever it is, to me, it all encompasses that same love and that same feeling. So we'll hear in the episode.
Even in the biblical terms, when they say the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, well, I understand what they mean. I think maybe for me that it feels a bit maybe taken out of context, only in the sense of the Son, meaning that we are all the Son. It's collective. We are part of the source, the Father, and the Holy Ghost is the angels, the spirits that are there to show you the way.
Exactly. Yeah. So there are 9 types of angels, but in this episode, we're only going to talk about 2 because otherwise it just gets really, really confusing. Something I wanted to talk about first, because I'm going to talk a lot in this episode about a woman named Doreen Virtue. And I know that a lot of our listeners know who Doreen is because I have had suggestions for us to do an episode about her. I honestly don't feel like we could do a whole episode on Doreen, so I'm going to put this in here and give a little brief recap so that everybody knows what I'm talking about when I talk about Doreen Virtue. So Doreen she's always been like a huge mentor in this community, in the New Age spiritual community, especially with angels. She works a lot with angels, the archangels. She has, I believe it's 13 books and 36 oracle decks of cards. Wow. And most of them, if not all, are based on angels. So for me doing this research, I had to turn to Doreen for research. She's it. Okay. But about 2 years ago, Doreen denounced New Age and spiritualism. She said that she was visited by Jesus. And I'm going to tell you what Jesus said to her. He told her to be true to herself, to live an authentic life, and to stop using angel cards as a form of idol worship. So what she took from Jesus saying that was, it's all bad. It's not about, like, to me, it's not about worshiping, but that's kind of the way that she seems to have taken it, is I can't talk to angels. This is bad. All of these things are bad and wrong. What I take from what Jesus said, and I do believe that Jesus talked to her. I do believe that anyone, if they called upon Jesus, could speak to him.
Yeah.
So what I believe he was trying to say with that is, don't worship these cards. Don't look at them as an idol, as the thing, as, something to worship. Does that make sense? It makes sense to me.
I don't know what level she used them or relied on them. So it's hard for me to really judge her, and I wouldn't really want to judge her. But yeah, if she felt like she, all the true answers were there and she couldn't communicate without those, then maybe, yeah, I could see his point.
Right. Yeah, I understand, and I think sometimes, too, these messages are not telling us that we're doing something wrong. They're just telling us to watch out for things in the future. Like, I could have seen him saying things like, just be wise with your money, and, like, what you do with it, as far as you make so much money, donate. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't make money off of it. Looking into this, Doreen, up until 2017, had made $116 million off of her books and her oracle decks.
Wow.
So for me, I wanted to, because she's really denounced it. Like, she's saying things like, let's see, I made a list. These things are on her list of what is now going to possibly send you to hell. And I'm not joking when I say that. That's what she believes. Following your heart. This is on the list. You're not supposed to follow your heart. You're supposed to follow Jesus. To me, that sounds like worship.
Yeah.
I don't think we're supposed to worship anyone.
No, and Christ, for sure, does not want to be idolized and worshipped for what happened to him.
No.
He was trying to just say, we are all the same.
Yeah.
And we can all communicate with God or with the source or what universe or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Also,
if you believe.
Right. Also on this list, I took some of the most shocking things from this list, just so you know, was Harry Potter, because its portrayal of witchcraft. It's a movie and a book.
All those children are going to go to hell.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
And then their parents.
And everybody. And forget about, what's her name, J.K. Rowling, that wrote the book, and all the people that work at the rides at Universal Studios. Give me a break.
Right.
Okay. Manifestation is on the list. How is manifestation work of the devil? You're bringing, unless you're using it, it's still not work of the devil, but if you're using it for bad things, then you probably shouldn't be. That's just with yourself. But manifesting for the good, the greater good of people, I manifest for strangers. How's that bad? Well,
and you're just adding more to your plate that you're going to have to work off.
Right.
The karma.
Right. The law of attraction. That's putting out good, hoping to get good back.
That's just it exists. How can that be? You're going to go to hell if that's floating around all of us. Mm-hmm. So then we would all be going to hell. Mm-hmm. That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. None of this makes any sense. This one I found the funniest. A peace sign, because it's an upside down broken cross. Let me tell you a story. When I was a little kid and I had just learned about, like, the middle finger and giving the middle finger, I saw my grandfather changing the radio stations with his middle finger, pointing it up to the sky, to heaven. And I was like, oh, he's flipping off God. He wasn't flipping off God. He was changing the radio station. Just because his finger was pointed up to that doesn't mean that he's flipping off God. But that's like saying that people that use the peace sign are using it as a broken cross. Mm-hmm. When we use the peace sign, we use it as love, as peace. I was just a little bit taken back by this list. Right. And there's like over 100 things on this list. I think it's DoreenVirtue.com or something like that.
So
you should
did
have a
she
look.
Join like a convent and like totally?
Well, can I give you my theory?
What?
My theory, and actually I have read during my research online, I have read online that other psychics and mediums feel the same way, is that she's a sellout. Is that she had basically done everything that she could on the subject of angels and she was still making money off of her cards, but there was nothing new to put out. Like she couldn't think of anything else. So how do you make money? Well, you've come up with a new idea. And you know what? A lot of people do that. A lot of this to me is just so wrong. And if this is what she's
doing, her topic was angels, and so she was visited by Christ to say that get away from the angels, they're bad.
Well, the angels in particular, she hasn't denounced. I believe it was worshiping the archangels, talking to the archangels that we're not supposed to talk to them. It's just, but she talked to them for, God, I don't even know how many years.
No, she decided to follow some book that, where does it say that you're not supposed to talk to them?
This is messages that she says that she's getting now.
That she's been told now we're not supposed to talk to them.
After all these years of
baloney.
Right, exactly. So I started kind of digging deeper on this about how this could be, because as a light worker, that would be probably the worst thing that I could do, would be to try and make money off of something that isn't true, like what she's doing. So I think how she's trying to handle it is she all of the money that's coming in from her books and cards that were already done is going to charity. So I feel like she's almost like offsetting what she's doing.
I would be interesting to see, like, where was her financial situation at that point? Was it on the downward?
Right.
So she thought, I should just change my whole shtick.
Right.
And to see if I get a spike in my, my fiscal year or
she
whatever.
Caused an uproar. And you know what else she did? Some of her decks of cards, she has 36 decks of cards. I have 5. I have 11 total decks. 5 are hers. That tells you that most of hers she saturated the market, really. Mm-hmm. Okay. There are so many of them. And there are ones now that they're scarce. And so the prices on them, you can find them on eBay for hundreds of dollars.
Wow.
So you see what she's done? She's just
created something.
Right. She caused an uproar.
But she's not being honest.
She's not being honest. And it makes me really sad.
Yeah.
I'm all about religious equality. I don't hold anything against anybody of any religion. I think we are all open to our rights and to do whatever we please. I'm not telling anybody that they're going to a different place. Right. Actually, I believe that no matter what you believe, we're all going to the same place. Mm-hmm. But here's a person that's telling me that I can't do yoga because it's going to make me go to hell. Mm-mm. That's what I don't like about religion. That's where it becomes hypocritical and wrong.
Well, Jesus, and that's why I feel like what you said at the very beginning is that we are spirits are essentially angels. There's just different levels and what you do, and that's a personal choice. You have free will, but when you're on that side, you use that free will for good.
Right.
On this side, you have a choice, essentially, even though you have a choice there too. But when you're surrounded and bathed in the energy of that energy, the ultimate energy, you want to do good.
You do.
So when you get here, that's when you start to question things and start to play with this choice of free will. What do I do with it? Do I do good with it?
Right.
Or do I do bad with it? But essentially, you and I are angels in meat suits for the time being.
Right.
We can do angels work here and there, or we can just do it there.
Yep.
And then we're just going to have to come back here more.
Absolutely.
So it's all, but I think that's silly to say after the fact that, now you're not supposed to communicate. No, that just proves.
Exactly.
It just proves that you could communicate with anything on that side if you believe, which is essentially what Christ was saying, if you believe, it will be. So you have to have that faith and that trust and make that connection, which is essentially what he was doing, and trying to share that with people.
Right.
That all these things that he could do miraculously was just a matter of faith.
Yep.
And intention. Yep. And it was for good.
Absolutely.
So he became the martyr,
Yep.
Unfortunately.
It's all about intention.
Right.
It really is. Like on her list, of course, I mean, we have some ridiculous things on there. So, of course, mediumship and psychic abilities are on there. And there's a lot of people that believe that mediumship is it's dark. But let me tell you, I have helped hundreds of people to heal after the loss of a loved one. Mm-hmm. And if there is something dark and against God for that, then I'll take my punishment. Because I've given those people peace, and I'm going to continue to do that.
And I'm a witness to a lot of those.
Yeah.
And seeing what peace you're able to bring people. And I can vouch that not one of those spirits or angels, whatever you want to call them, that you've connected to has ever conveyed or said anything about being in a dark place.
No. And where
some of these people have committed suicide, some have committed murder, some have not lived very good lives, some have lived very okay lives.
Right. When I put this episode together, I was trying to decide if I was going to go into Lucifer and those types of things, and I decided not to. Mm-hmm. Because you know what? It's not important. It's not really a part of this. There's no devil. There's no, we are our own judge and jury here. We are it. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't feel like talking about those dark things was really something to put with angels,
Right.
Decided to stay away from that. So.
Yeah.
So let me get into now our topic, angels and archangels. Let me just say first that, and I can't remember if I said this already, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I really didn't want anybody to not use Doreen's products. Now, you keep buying them because the money is going to charity, and her stuff is amazing.
Oh, so she doesn't pocket the money for any of this?
Not the old stuff.
Oh, okay.
That's why I said I feel like she's balancing her karma out by giving that to charity.
Well, at least she's doing that.
Right. So keep buying that stuff. Keep using it. It's still good. Like, there's a lot of people that are like, I'm throwing it all away. No, it's still wonderful tools communicating with your angels.
Sell it, make money on her.
Well, yeah, you could do that. I actually got a free deck from somebody that was like, I don't want her cards anymore, and was giving them away, and I got one of the free decks. But I gave her a Starbucks gift card back, It's right. Like, you can't just take, you got to give back. So, whatever. Anyways, don't stop using her stuff was my point.
Good.
So, what's the difference? So, first of all, the two types of angels we're going to talk about are regular angels and archangels. And so what's the difference? So first of all, an angel is one step above a human. And any spirit basically on the other side that's on that level is an angel. Mm-hmm. So like my mom, my dad, anybody that's over there, those are angels. Right. There are different ranks of angels, but I really don't want to get, too much into that. Both archangels and angels fulfill all sorts of different tasks on their missions. They are both messengers of God. Angels level up from humanity. They like to guide us, support us, and assist us. And this relationship is one-on-one. So this includes your spirit guides. Mm-hmm. The word spirit guides and guardian angel are interchangeable. It's the same thing. Right. So these spirit guides that you have, they're with you from the day that you're born. Mm-hmm. There are people, I do believe, like myself, I don't feel my spirit guides around. I just don't. I have so much family. I feel like my family's with me and those spirit guides have moved on. Right. So maybe not everyone has spirit guides, so to speak, but you still have your loved ones that are acting as your spirit guides and guardian angels. Right. I think, too, the more support you have over there, too, the more likely it is that, like, those spirit guides that were born with you have been relieved of their duties, if that makes sense.
Once you go?
Like, no, once, okay, so.
Oh, if you have other family that kind of get involved.
Right. Like, I've noticed with a lot of people that the more family that they have on the other side, the stronger their connection is. And so I kind of feel like when that happens, that your spirit guides can almost move on. The spirit guides that you were born with, I mean, not your family, because your family comes in. Like, I would have thought it was just going to be my mom that was going to help me, but it's all of them. They all help with different things. And
well, you said the other day, which, I mean, I don't want to sound morbid, but I feel like, and you may have just said it just now, the more people that pass away in your life that you're connected to is the more help you have.
Yes.
There.
I feel it.
While you're living the rest of your life. So it's hard. It's kind of a weird oxymoron, because as painful as death is, and to let somebody go, you're actually gaining.
You are.
You really are gaining.
It's hard for me to explain that to people because most people don't want to hear, and they'll specifically say, you know, I don't want to hear this happen for a reason.
Right.
But I'll tell you that with every person that I lost, it got stronger and stronger and stronger. And now I have such a large support system over there. And I've said to you so many times that it was like, once my grandma died and got there, I felt like the picture was complete. And she was like, okay, it's time to make her a medium and get on with the show. Because life changed after Kitty died.
But I think that's a very simplistic and wonderful explanation of what's going on here in this world.
Yes.
It really is. I mean, if you want to get it down to brass tacks, that's about as simple as you can put it.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, that's what's going on here.
Yeah.
And the nature of when you die, because you're an extension of God or the energy, is that you want to look after the people that you had connections with as if they were your own children.
Yes, absolutely, you do.
Your spirit guides are put there almost like, hey, this is my best friend's kid. Look after this with your life. That's kind of, I feel, the energy between and the relationship between me and my spirit guide is like, I don't really know them,
right?
But they know me just because they're there now,
right?
And they were assigned or they chose this job. It's not like everybody's being bossed around. You want to do it. You want to look after the people like they're your own.
Yes, absolutely, because they are, you know, even though they may not be like necessarily in your soul family, these spirit guides that are assigned to you, they end up really being a part of your family. Now, you are a good example of somebody that still has their spirit guides around them. You have both of your spirit guides. I know that they're still there. And I can't remember if we got into it in that episode. I think it was 23, the spirit guides episode, about how to figure out who they are. But that's something that you really need to go in and find on your own, like through meditation. And I'll have to listen back to that episode. And if we didn't, then maybe we should do one on that, finding out who your spirit guides are, because it is good to have that connection to them. I did know who mine were. I learned that in my early 20s when I was going to, she was a hypnotherapist and acupressurist, and we found out who my spirit guides were, and I started working with them and using angel cards, all of Doreen's stuff, using the angel cards and getting to know them. And then my mom died and I never really felt them anymore. It is so weird. So weird how that works. But I don't think they left because they were like, Mom's here, see ya. I think it was just a natural progression, you know, that maybe that's how it goes. But if you want to learn more about your spirit guides, you know, / guardian angels, listen to that one too. Maybe we'll do another episode on it. So, let's see some other things about angels. What do angels do? So they're God's messengers. They guide and protect. They observe us. They encourage us. They deliver us at birth and they care for us at death. Right. So they're always with us.
Yeah. So when you hear us say, like, when you do go, it's your time and you transition, you're never alone.
Yeah.
If you're not immediately surrounded by your family, which I kind of feel like you're escorted to them. So by your spirit guide, and it's up to you whether you get in touch in this life with understanding that energy that's in you or around you, that's help guiding you, the spirit guide. So I get the feeling like the more in touch with it you are in this life, when you go to the other side and you meet them, it's more like, oh, cool, finally nice to meet you, as opposed to being like, who are you?
Right.
I've only figured out, and I was told by about one. So, but I feel their push, especially in moments where I want to give up.
Yeah.
Kind of, I feel their push.
Yeah.
So, but the interesting thing is, like, can these spirit guides keep you from, horrific things happening? Well, yes and no. I mean, and then somebody might say, well, what do they do when they're always around you or they're protecting you? I mean, can they keep you from getting hit by a car? Well, physically, no. They can't stand in front of you and keep the car from hitting you. However, if you're in tune with them and this in your life, you will hear signs or see signs that tell you to go a different way.
Yes.
So that is an example of how they can protect you.
Absolutely, they will do that. And when we get into archangels, that's some of those. That's exactly what they do. But your spirit guides or guardian angels, they are there to protect you. But yeah, like you said, they can't stop something from happening. But if you hear a message, like I was listening to one of Doreen Virtue's books, and she was talking about this angel that protected a lady that was driving in her car, and the lady all of a sudden heard, "Don't get over." She was about to get over, and she almost didn't listen to it because she was like, "What is that? Why wouldn't I get over?" Well, this other truck would have hit her if she would have gotten over. Yeah. So they'll say those things to you. And then there are also situations that can arise. There was a road rage situation that I had heard of about an angel stepping in, that this girl was afraid. She was afraid for her life. She was in a road rage incident and getting ready to call 911. And this white van came up in between her car and the guy that was causing the road rage and stayed there until she got home, went with her and stayed the whole way. That's an angel. She was like praying, "Help me, help me." And then angel was sent to help her.
That's awesome.
That's what they do.
Gives me chills.
Doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's so cool.
There's also earthbound angels. And I think a lot of those people don't know that they're angels, so to speak, or angels work through us. They'll be there not just to do things for you, but to test you. There was a woman, I think I've talked about her before, that we were at this deli that we eat at, and this was just at the beginning of our spiritual journey, and we were both kind of like trying to work on this and kind of annoyed with the whole process. And this lady comes and sits right down next to us in the restaurant and starts talking to us. But she was very angelic, and she was an earth angel. Yeah. What her purpose was to teach us patience and to help us see to interact with people more. Right. So they're all do different things. But did that woman know that she was being told to do that? I'm not really sure.
She might have just been sort of compelled. Right. Which she might have questioned later herself. Like, why was I compelled to go over there and ask the guy if I can eat some of his chips?
Yeah, I wish I would have written down everything that lady said and what she was wearing, because it was so my mom. Like, we both were just like, oh, Linda was written. Well, there's also,
we talk a lot about a lot of things and elements within, our belief that where it could fit for angels to do work, and that is, when we talk about souls that have decided that they want out, but they don't want to commit suicide. Yeah, you can actually leave. Yeah, whenever you want, and that leaves now a body that's alive that needs a soul. It needs somebody there. So it might, a soul or an angel, whatever you want to call it, it needs, maybe there's a soul or an angel there that has either something to learn from this, that they could learn in this person's life, from this person's life, or there's an angel that has something important that needs to be done or said in a physical way. Right. So therefore you can imprint. Yes. And live out the rest of that person's life, or maybe not, Right. So it's the possibilities are infinite.
Yeah, it's a wild universe, that's for sure.
Right. I mean, but I definitely think that's all there. It's all the same.
It is, and it made me think of this video that I I shared to you, I think on Instagram or something, about this guy that was driving on this bridge, and there was another guy standing on top of the bridge, and he was getting ready to jump.
Yeah, I saw that.
And the guy was in his car. He had the window open screaming, "Don't do it. It's just a bad day. It's not a bad life." All these things, just all these inspirational things. And the guy turned around and he left, and he walked down. That person, whether they know it or not, was influenced by an angel to help that.
Was cool too.
Mm-hmm. It was really cool. Yeah. It makes my eyes water.
I know.
I think the subject in general makes my eyes water because I can feel like that presence, and I felt it all day.
I wish that humans could
but...
realize this collectively together, that we are all angels.
Yeah, we are.
We're just in a body learning lessons, and the difference between, I think, the archangels and us is the archangels have lived many, many, many lives and have so much experience. That's why they deserve to be higher up and right next to the source.
Yeah.
Solely by experience and the time that they've put in.
Yeah.
And we're all doing that. We're all on the same path. We instinctively, as I kind of gave you this analogy, as like I view us or the source or God as this magnet on a table, and we're a bunch of paper clips.
Oh, yeah.
And we just kind of slowly slide towards it until we're touching it. And we're moving all at our own rate, and some slower, some faster.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's see, a few more things on just regular angels that when I did my research, I was thinking about that there's a lot of TV shows and movies based on angels. And so I looked up a few of them. The Good Place. This is if you've never seen this one, we watched one episode of this, but we go to Universal Studios a lot, and they film this there. So it's really cool to like drive through the area of this show. But I don't really get this show so much because I don't know. It wasn't written by somebody that has the connection that I do.
It's a little too candy store.
Yeah, it is.
A little bit. But I like the idea.
Yeah.
Another point is that it's probably one of the most referenced words in music.
Oh, yeah, it is.
So it's interesting that
yeah,
and
all the time.
I mean, music is probably the language of the angels, essentially.
Yeah, no, it is, absolutely.
It definitely draws them whenever there's music.
Yep. I remember my grandmother watching Touched by an Angel. I never watched it, but I'm sure it's not on anymore. But I think that was like stories of how people had angels that interacted with them. Highway to Heaven, remember that one?
I love that. I mean, I'm a sap for Michael Landon. That guy can cry at the drop of a snot rag.
I can tell, yeah.
And he could get me just in tears. So I mean, I've been watching him since Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah, Little House on the Prairie comes on.
Highway to Heaven. I thought it was a great show. And his sidekick, when that guy would tear up, then it was like, oh crap, here comes the water. Because he's a big old scary man.
Yeah.
And he'd be like,
yeah, that's the worst.
Yeah.
I never watched it, to be honest.
Oh, it was a great show.
Besides The Good Place, I haven't seen any of these. Supernatural is on there. I've never watched that. Some movies, Down to Earth, that was a cute movie with, oh gosh, what was her? I can't remember, but she was dead and didn't, I don't know. That's a good one, though. Mm-hmm. Can't remember the exact. Michael with John Travolta. Did you ever see that one?
Yep.
That was a good one.
Heaven Can Wait. That goes back.
Heaven Can Wait is good.
That was one of my favorite movies.
That's on my list. That was a good one.
Or Ghost, too.
My mom's actually came up on this list, and that's Chances Are. That's with Robert Downey Jr., and he's reincarnated into this guy that falls in love with the woman that he was in love with when he died in the former life.
Right.
So it's a really cute movie. That one was on the list. Something that I thought was really interesting, like little things that happen to me, just so people know that I do believe a lot of times these things are signs. One of the movies that was on this list is Meet Joe Black. I've never seen it. It's with Anthony Hopkins and Brad Pitt. But this was one of my mom's favorite movies because she loved Brad Pitt.
Right.
So one year for Christmas, I bought her a signed copy of this movie, of Meet Joe Black. It's signed by all the actors, including Anthony Hopkins and Brad Pitt. And when she died, it was one of the few Brad Pitt things that I kept because she had like light switch covers and you name it. It was like Brad Pitt, everything. Yeah. So I kept this, and I see it occasionally in a box that I have like memories in. but I never knew that it was about like angels and that kind of
I
thing.
can't remember if I've seen it. I don't
I'll
think
have to
so.
we'll have to watch it now.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was funny that it's on this list, and I actually have a signed copy of this movie.
That's funny.
Yeah, it kind of blew my mind. But
I mean, even Ghost, it's a terrible title for it, but
yeah,
it should be called Angel because that's what he is.
yeah,
He's not a ghost.
exactly. He's not a ghost. He was a ghost because he was stuck in the astral plane, I suppose. But he was still an angel.
It's still an angel.
Yeah.
It's just, we've got a million words for the same thing.
That's exactly right. You're right. I feel this is why I changed this episode up, because I feel like otherwise it would be the same thing as the Spirit Guides episode.
Yeah.
Because it really is the same thing. Let's see. It's a Wonderful Life. That's a good example of an angel movie.
You're right. I
Yeah.
forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
So that's your regular angels for you. So I want to talk about a few archangels. I don't know how I'm going to get into all of them, but I have 3 that we'll talk about if we can get to them.
Cool.
An archangel is the highest to God that you can get. So these angels they're God's first messengers. They're right underneath him. There's only 2 archangels that are talked about by name in the Bible, and that's Michael and Gabriel. And those are the first 2 that we're going to talk about. So these archangels have not only been represented in the Christian Bible, but they're also Judaism and Islam also recognize these archangels. So it's interesting when you see certain things overlapping like that you have to take those things.
Yeah, consistencies in different religions.
Exactly. Yeah. So I never really thought about this, about the archangels and calling upon them, but and I've never felt them. And so I asked myself as a medium, why have I never felt these angels? Well, I've never tried. I've never connected to them. And that's one of the things about working with archangels, is that you have to call upon them for help. They're not just going to come and help you because they're not your one-on-one angel.
Right.
They need you to bring them in.
Right.
But if you bring them in, they will come in.
Right.
And I've kind of been working with this the last few days, and I'll give an update next week of how it goes, because I'm, like experimental for our listeners. But, so let's see. So Michael is, he's the archangel. He's the main archangel. They actually call him God's archangel, and it means who is like God. So literally the closest that can get.
Right.
He's a strong protector. When I've read about him, he's like muscular and, manly man type. Communicates boldly. So for example, if he's trying to get a message through to you, like if he's trying to tell you to like turn left here, he'll be rash about it, not because he's harsh, but because he wants you to hear him. So like one of the examples they gave is kind of like a surgeon demanding a scalpel when there's a crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's also really good at aligning you with your life purpose. So you can ask him for help with your life purpose. He's a protector of personal property. He's also a protector, like when you're in your car. I've heard stories about it, people that are, looking like they're going to get in an accident, and they ask for his help, or they've asked for his help before they've left the home, before they almost get in an accident. And he protects them. He comes in and he helps. It's pretty amazing stuff. You're feeling it, aren't you? I can see it. Oh, hey, baby. It's a lot of presents, yeah. So I'm going to keep going.
When you call, here it comes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When you call it. When I was listening to this, I got all this from Doreen's book. And when I was listening to it, this is the Archangels 101. Sometimes you get those shivers. Like you get one of them that you're like, whoa, I felt that. This was constant. It was a shiver. I thought it would go away. It was another one. It was so overly, especially with was it Gabriel, which is the other one. With Gabriel it was even stronger. But yeah, with these archangels, it's amazing if you call them in that you can feel them.
Yeah,
for sure. Let's see, he's also Michael's. You ask him for things like if you have a situation in your life that's draining your energy, he's good at cutting the cord to that energy source. So you ask him for help in cutting that cord.
Cool.
So those are some things about Michael. I want to get through the rest of this, so I'm not going to get too deep more into it. But I would suggest that if this interests you, that you do some research on it, because I found it very interesting, for sure. Archangel Gabriel is actually female. I didn't know this.
I
I
didn't
felt the connection to her the strongest. She, and you might too, so prepare. She is actually the archangel that helps writers, musicians, artists, teachers, anybody in helping careers, anybody that's helping somebody else selflessly. I mean, yeah, we get paid for what we do, but it's still, this is what we want to do.
You shouldn't feel guilty for that.
Exactly. But we do this because
Right.
we want to evoke emotion. And so this archangel, that's what she does. She helps people like that. She also helps with pregnancy and conception if you're having issues with anything like that, with childbirth or child rearing, issues with your own children. She is the archangel of communication. Her name means God is my strength. And let's see. So I'm going to move on to Raphael because I definitely want to get through that one too. But
Cool.
I really felt a strong connection to Gabriel when I was
Hers
doing
is
this.
softer, but it's nice.
It's softer, but that was the one that took over me with the shivers. That it was like, ooh, she's you just ask these archangels for help with these types of things. So like there was one story that I heard that somebody writing a book and they just couldn't get inspiration on it, and they asked her for inspiration, and they sat down and started writing. And for me, like, that's hard. Sometimes I totally lack inspiration, especially when it comes to writing. I know if I just sit down and start, I'll be good.
Right.
But so that's my goal for next week, is to sit down and be like, okay, Gabriel, help me with my writing and see how it goes.
That's good.
Yeah. The third one I found fascinating was Archangel Raphael. And this is a healer angel. So if you have issues with any kind of illness, injuries, like cravings or addictions, things like that, this is the archangel that you would call on. The name actually means God heals. This archangel clears away fears and stressors and watches over travelers. So these are really, I'm going to kind of challenge our listeners this week to do the same thing that I'm going to do and call upon these three archangels for things that you need in your life. If it's healing, call upon Raphael. If it's something that has to do with, your writing or your child or whatever, call upon Gabriel. And of course, Michael has a long list of things that you can call upon him for.
Yeah.
But
That's cool.
I want to know your stories if you do this. So, yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah. We need tissue in this studio because
I got too many other jobs.
oh, please. Please.
I got to push all the buttons.
You got to push all the buttons. You're funny.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that was good.
So that was my angel episode, and
nice.
yeah, I hope everybody
good.
likes it. And so, yeah, my challenge, go to those angels this
Go
week.
out there and be an angel.
Yeah, that too. That's a great one too. Be an angel for somebody else, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Even telling somebody they look pretty
Right.
or holding a door open for somebody.
Right.
It still is being an angel.
Right.
Yeah.
I think probably one of the biggest questions would be, do they really have the wings? And I think that's kind of a misinterpretation
Yes.
for the people way back in those times that were writing scriptures and writing down things that they were shown and seen. And that was, because you can fly. You don't have a body.
Right.
You're
Your
a weightless energy. So you can fly. But it doesn't mean you really have wings.
No, but I assume that they could appear
If you wanted,
if
could,
they wanted to, but we have to have like an image that goes with something. So that's our image of an angel. But that's not really,
I feel like it
what
was
they
more
look
of
like.
interpretation.
Yeah, exactly. It's not really for those types of things about what they look like, because I feel like all of these energies, they really look the same when they're an energy, but they can develop to you however you want. If that makes sense.
What's most comfortable for you.
Yeah, exactly.
They very much have that in mind.
So if you think about, Archangel Michael, and you imagine him as an angel in the physical looking like that, he may just appear to you just like that.
Right.
It's just like when I do readings for people and they want to know how their loved one appears at what age, they can appear to me however they want.
Right.
It's totally up to them.
Typically what I've heard with other psychics too, or mediums, is that they show you themselves in their prime. So
a lot of times they do, but like, for example, if somebody wants me to communicate with their grandfather and they only knew him from like age 60, I'll see him the way he looked because then I can they can validate for me.
Right.
Because if they give me an old picture and I'm like, well, this is what I'm seeing, and that's what they know, it helps.
Right.
So yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
Well, before we say goodbye to everybody, do you want to share your pages?
Sure, absolutely. You can find out everything you need to know about me on my website at samanthajonespsychicmedium.com. If you want to send us any information about anything we've talked about, our email is spiritualjoneses@gmail.com.
Cool.
Yay.
Very good. And if you like art, djonesartcollection.com, or you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at djonesartcollection.
Yay.
And Gypsy Brown, the music, you could check us out, gypsybrown.com. That page hasn't been updated in a while, folks, but we're getting there.
Yep.
But we just got a brand new Facebook page, thanks to the wifey over there. Thanks, babe.
You're welcome.
And you can check us out there at Gypsy Brown Band, and Brown with an E. So go on there and like it and follow. We will be posting March 1st, new info coming up. We're excited.
I'm excited.
So it's time.
It is.
And started working in the studio again. It's new demo, new guys. We're rolling. So
Yay.
check it out. That's it. You can also find us at Gypsy Brown Music on Instagram. And that's all I got.
Yay.
Cool. Well, that was a good episode, babe.
I think so.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And thanks everybody for listening.
Yes. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yep, I did. And we hope you guys have a great week. And until next week, peace and love.